right. Let's jump right into this. So the reason we're having this conversation tonight, this is my oldest son right here next to me, Riker. Say hi to everyone, Riker.
Hi.
Riker just turned 8 years old, and this is a book that's given me a lot of good ideas. And we wanted to teach a little class just on some of the things that we've done intentionally as a family, specifically in the financial area of his life. And one of the questions that this book posed that really got me thinking is it goes through these five different types of fathers. And one of them was the irresponsible father. And this is someone that's just absent from the work of fathering, leaves his kids to raise themselves. There's the ignorant father. This guy means well, but doesn't know what the kids need or how to prepare them. And then you have the inconsistent father, who someone that shows up in fits and starts, but there's no real system or follow through. And then you have the involved father, someone that's present and engaged, but just reactive, going along with life rather than steering towards a defined end. And obviously, the purpose of the book was to be this intentional father or mother. And this is someone that casts a vision of really who God wants them to be. And then you kind of work backwards and you build systems to get your kids there on purpose. And I've probably been through this book four times already in the last couple of months. And it's one of the things that kind of stirred this conversation that Riker and I are going to have tonight. And one of the ideas in the book is not just about like raising young kids to be good men. They phrase it in this book. You want to teach your kids how to be good at being a man, not just being a good man, but how do you become good at being a man? That's kind of why we're having this conversation today. And so when I think about like, what do I want him to know about life? He's 8 years old right now. He's going to be out of here in less time than I think most of us parents ever think. And I'm going to show you a slide that will gave me a lot of good perspective in just a minute. And what I want him to know about life is basically this image right here. Um, what does it mean to become good at being a man? I think a man and a father, Riker, is someone that has abundance or excellence in all of these areas. A strong spiritual purpose, uh, personal, their personal area is dialed in, the family area is there, their occupation, they love and support it. And we're going to talk tonight about this financial area, you and I, right? That's what we're doing here tonight. Wade, did you have anything before we go on?
Just really quick, housekeeping. Were you recording this? So did you want this recorded?
Yep, I think we are recording.
Okay, perfect.
Love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about these five areas, specifically this financial conversation. And I've had this book that I've been writing chapters for the last 5 or 6 years. And the title of the book was going to be Money Belongs at the Dinner Table. And so we've got this bowl of money right here, all this cash in here. We're going to talk about this tonight. And this bowl of money should exist right here. We're at the dinner table. Riker and I, we're sitting at our table right here, having this conversation. And this is where a lot of, I think, the most important conversations happen in our families at the dinner table. And money is one of those subjects I think we should be discussing here as a family unit. And so, Riker, let's walk everyone through a couple of ideas that we've been talking about. And some of these frameworks are what I teach at the office every single day to adults all over the country. And one of the ideas that we teach, and we're going to teach you the same principles, systems, and models, and we have been, is this idea of what's called the tough money effect. So your ability to thrive, which means do really well, thriving is another word for just doing exceptionally well. Like you're really good if you're thriving, right? So your ability to thrive over time when events happen, not if. And these events, we've been talking about events, right? And, sometimes life is going to throw these events at you as you become a man. And this could be a number of different things. But if our money's not tough, we're always going to feel it like we're going backwards. And what we want to do, Mom and I want to prepare you so that not only when these events happen, you don't have to go backwards, but you can actually go forward. Some of the investments we've been talking about as well. We're going to talk a little bit about those tonight. And so this idea of the tough money effect is something we've been working with our children as well. And one of the best frameworks that I have found to help me personally about money, and then we've also been teaching now our kids, is what's called this path of money. Now, Riker, we purposely only went over this one time. I've only showed you this one time because I didn't want you to be too prepared for our conversation. Part of you becoming a man, being good at becoming a man in the future is going to be us doing some of these tests. Remember, we've been talking about that. There's going to be certain tests that we're going to put you through. And tonight is one of those tests. So I want to see like how much of this are you understanding at your age without too much preparation. So we had talked about like you work for money. You do some jobs around the house. You've come down to my office. We'll talk about that. And you work for money. That means money comes into your life. And there's only two real big pieces to your financial world. You have what's called an income statement, which is where money flows into from you working. And then you have what's called a balance sheet, and that's where money that you own. Why don't you show everyone this piggy bank right here? It's a clear piggy bank. So that this money in this piggy bank is money that you own and control. And so as we're going through this, that income coming in is called cash flow. And right now, you're making about $15,000 per year. Now, you weren't always making that much money. When you were just a little baby, you weren't making that much money, but we've learned some different tax strategies, Mom and I, now that we can incorporate you into some of the business. And so you can have a pretty decent income for an 8-year-old. Now, you're making $15,000 a year, and here's some of the things that we're doing. So you remember coming into the studio, I think that was last week with Keaton, and we're recording some videos, right? How is that work? Is that work that you enjoy? It's fun? Okay, I want you to speak real big and loud, okay? So that, I mean, you're smiling in that photo, and remember when we were trying to get the line down and you were giggling because it was kind of a funny scene? Like that work, like work can be very enjoyable, right? Now, what about assembling that chair and taking it out to the dumpster when it was 115 degrees?
Hard.
Was that hard? But which one was more fun?
With Keaton.
With Keaton make videos. Now, you've done a number of videos with me, and last time we were doing them, Keaton and I were both like, you were getting these things down. Like you're building what's called a skill, and that skill is going to allow you to make more money. And that's one of the best things that you can be developing at your age. We'll talk about that in a minute too. So you have this income. Now there's some things you can do with money. So money flows into your life. You can spend it. And right now you're probably spending, we're trying to track this a little bit better, but you're probably spending around $750 a year. That's really all you're spending. Now, what's this?
A wallet.
This is your wallet. And the money in there is for what? Spending. That you can spend whatever you want in that wallet, right? Now, we also, remember this word, donate it. What does that one mean?
That means like giving it to people.
Giving it to people. Okay, I want you to speak real big and loud, okay? So giving it to people. Now, we believe we want to give about 10% of our income. That's just a family rule that we live by. And some of that goes to the church that we're a part of. And sometimes we give people $20 when we go out to eat. Maybe we go to like a fast food restaurant and give someone $20 because they were really nice. Does that always make them happy? Like, isn't that a great feeling? So giving can be a really fun part of life. And so the first two things we can do with money, we can spend it, and it's fun to spend money.
Yeah.
We can donate it. That's makes you feel really good. What's left over is called savings. And the third thing you can do with money is hold it. And so part of where we hold money is in this piggy bank. Now, when this thing gets full, where do you hold most of your cash once that thing gets full?
In policy.
In our policies, right? So this is also called liquidity. It means like money that is accessible to you. Like you can get access to this quickly. Yes, that's right. And you have right now, you have about $34,000 of available cash or cash value that you've built up since you were a baby. What do you think of when you see that number? Is that a lot of money? Is that a little bit of money? It's a lot of money. Now, you have what's called a net worth. That's like kind of like your financial score. We talked about that. About 70% of that is liquid and accessible. That to me is a really good thing for you. And you hold the majority of that in a couple of whole life insurance policies, which we'll talk about in a minute, right? Now, the fourth thing you can do with money is you can invest it. Now, you and I made an investment. We had someone that wanted to borrow some money. So you lent them some money against your insurance policies. And that was a 5-year loan you made. This was several years ago. And remember, you've been getting paid every single month on this. Well, there's still about $15,000 left on that loan. And the purpose of that loan is to create more money as income for you. Remember that concept that, like, when you go to sleep at night, your policies and your investment is working for you? Okay. So your current net worth, this is kind of like your score. Remember we talked about you weigh a certain amount right now, and we've been trying to work out so you can lift certain amounts of weights, and that's how strong you are. This current net worth, $49,000, that is your wealth score, your money score. When you look at that, what do you think about? What are you seeing here?
That's a lot.
Is that a pretty big number? Do you think a lot of other 8-year-olds have a score like that? Maybe, right? I mean, I didn't at your age, but there's probably some kids out there that have a lot of resources like this. But the reason I'm going over this with you is you're going to see how the way you're already set up, this means we got to take some serious responsibility of this, right? It's a big blessing you have here. So let's go a little bit further now, and let's talk about your path of money. So you remember filling out this worksheet? Now, this is a worksheet that we get to teach people all over the country. Mostly we teach adults with this, but I had you fill this out, and then we showed this to Mom, and you know what Mom said?
Yeah.
You do? What'd she say?
She said that's awesome.
Did she say that's awesome? Because she told me, she said, did you fill this out or did Riker? Because we have the same handwriting apparently. So that means my handwriting hasn't gotten any better since 2nd or 3rd grade. And so if I write this, Mom thought I did this. And I said, no, this is what Riker put on there. Anyways, we'll have to work on that. Mom can probably be a little nicer, yeah? All right, so let's break this down now. We took that sheet you filled out. That was an exercise you and I did, and we put it on this, and this is what we're going to use to teach everyone tonight. So we have Riker Fuller. You're 8 years old right now, and we talked about your goal. Your goal that you wanted to accomplish, and you and I have a lot of conversations around this, is have $1 million in current net worth. So right now you're worth about 50,000. You want a current net worth of $1 million by the time you're 25. And remember this, $8,000 a month of PI. What does that mean again? The last word's income. What's the first word? Want some help?
Path of money.
Ooh, close. Not path of money. I bet someone will put it in the chat. Passive income. Remember, that's money that just comes into your life, even if you're not working. You could be sleeping, and that $8,000 a month would be coming into your life. What do you think you would do if you were worth $1 million and you had $8,000 a month flowing into your life? That you would feel good? Anything else?
And surprised.
Surprised? Do you think that would allow you to help a lot of people? Do you think you could have some nice things? I think you could help a lot of people. You could give a lot of money. You could do a lot of things with that. That financial area will unlock a lot of things in your life. So let's break this down further. We know your income is 15,000. You're spending $750, which is about 5%. Do you think spending 5% of what you're making right now is that a lot or a little? That's a little. Yeah. Think about, like, if you had a pizza and there's 10 slices, this would be like taking not even one slice away. It's like taking 1/2 slice away, and the rest of that pizza would be yours. That's just a little bit, right? And we're donating about 10% of what you're making each year, so about $1,500. And that means you're saving about 85% of the money you're making. Do you think keeping 8 out of 10 pieces of pizza, is that a lot? That's a pretty tough habit, as we would say. We're gonna show that in just a minute. So you've got $34,000 of liquidity or cash reserves, and most of that is in these insurance policies. Now, when I asked you, Riker, why do we put the money in the insurance policies? Here's the answers that you gave us. So number one over here on the right, you said one of the reasons why you want to keep cash there, sit nice and straight, is when I die, my sons will be safe. Can you tell everyone? So I didn't think you were going to say that. I didn't think you were going to say that one. I thought you were going to say it makes me money. That's usually what we talk about with this. But first thing you said is when I die, my sons will be safe. So can you help me and everyone on the call tonight understand, like, why did you think about that? Like, what's going through your head?
Because, like, if if I die in a car accident, my policy will go to my kids, and so they could go with someone else and be safe.
So you would protect people, right, that you care about. Now, I don't know, like if you're already thinking about your kids, I think that's awesome. You know, you're thinking, that's what we say, you're thinking long term. And, you know, what I believe is one of the reasons why we put our cash in those policies there at our foundation is because we love enough people and it protects a lot of people, and we all have to pass away. We just don't know when. And so I love that you put that one on there. I thought that was really, really interesting. Now, the second one you put on there is you said one of the reasons we put it in the policies is because it's safe. So what does that mean?
That means no one can hack it, steal it.
So no one can hack into these and steal them. Where do people hack in and steal our money, do you think?
Like criminals.
Criminals could hack in there and steal it? That's true. Does it ever go down? Like, do we ever check your policy and it went backwards, it lost money?
Yeah,
It has?
sometimes.
Are you sure?
No.
No, we're not sure. It's never gone backwards. It won't ever go backwards. That's part of why it makes it so safe. Now, you are right. It will be safe from criminals. And it's also going to be safe from your uncle IRS. You have not met him yet, but you will meet your uncle IRS, and it'll be safe from him too. He's going to want some of that, but you have not met that uncle. You only know Uncle Joe and Uncle Brody and all the other ones. All right, third thing, you said we like putting it here because it make me money. That sounds like a robot. Make me money. So how does it make you money?
From our policies.
It just grows. So do you remember how much your policies are growing now?
Like 300 a month.
300. So these are $100 bills, $300 every single month, and it'll never go backwards. Is $300 a lot of money to an 8-year-old? You know, that's $10 every night you go to sleep and wake up. There's 10 more dollars in those policies. Sometimes you work really hard pulling weeds in the backyard to earn $10, and your policies are safe and they make you money every single day. Isn't that cool? So I love that you're learning about this. Now, here's what I would say when I'm teaching the adults. This is a class that, remember, David and I taught a couple weeks ago. And when we're looking at why did mom and dad start putting more cash into whole life as our foundation, this is an asset that keeps us tough. A lot of people will keep money in savings accounts. You have one of those, right? But your savings account only does a couple of things for your money. But your insurance policy, you see all these green check boxes, those are all benefits it gives you. This death benefit down there at the bottom, that's the one that you said if something happens to you, your kids will be protected, right? And so the reason that we like these policies so much is because there's more benefits in that policy than I have ever been able to find in any other safe, accessible place. and we look every single day. And so this is why mommy and daddy wanted to start one of these on you as early as possible so that you have as many benefits as you're growing up in the world. Now, once we have money saved up like that, then we can go out and invest it, right? And that loan we made to that friend of ours, they wanted some money to help them start their business, and they were willing to pay you 10% on that money for 5 years. And so, do you remember how much that investment that you made, which is a loan, do you remember how much of that you get paid every month? How much?
Like 30%.
Well, that's of your net worth. Remember that?
743.
$743. So we've got $743 right here. This is what that investment pays you every single month. So between your policies and that investment, you have about $1,000 every single month that's flowing into your life. What do you think about that?
Good.
Is that good? Would you want to do more of that? Okay. So that investment was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we've been doing with our kids, we do like these mock investments. So you remember randomly I'll say like, hey, there's an investment. You need $20 to get in on this one. And we tell them you can spend this $20 or you can put it with mom and dad and invest it. And if we do this on a Saturday, we go 1 week, Saturday to Saturday, and their investment will go from $20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. So it's a full month without spending the dollars they earned, but every week they can choose to take it or reinvest it. And we've done that a couple times now, right? Okay, well, that investment you made, the 20 to 40, the 40 was supposed to go to 60 on Saturday to get paid on Saturday. Do you want to know why?
Why?
It's because that investment failed. You know what that means?
Yeah, sometimes it fails.
So where's your money?
Back in a policy, like lose it.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone forever. So your $20 went to 40 and it didn't make it to 60. It was a bad investment and you lost all of that money.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Like surprised because you never do that.
Because I never do that? Now, do you see this gold box down at the bottom? Remember when you filled it out? That's called an investment, and you can lose money when you invest. Can you lose money in that green box where you hold your policies? You can't. And that's a very important lesson to learn. Your policies can't lose money. Some investments can. So you have to be very careful, and we're going to help you develop what's called an investing criteria, what to look out for. But we're going to teach you now with a little bit of money so you don't make big mistakes with a lot of money later. Does that make sense? Okay. So your current net worth, $49,898. I think that's pretty good for an 8-year-old. You want to be worth $1 million in the future, and we're going to show everyone kind of the roadmap of how we're going to accomplish this together. All right, so let's do a little bit of comparisons. These are like average incomes in the United States. 50,000 families make $50,000 a year, all the way up to 600,000, $1 million. People have a big range of just incomes and how much money they're making. Now, I'd love it if you got into an occupation where you loved doing it so much and you can make a lot of money. I think both of those are really good things. Now, you're making $15,000. Now, we don't have a study for 8-year-olds. These are like adults. But I want to show you this because it's good for you to have perspective on. I think you're doing pretty good right now. Now, this is called Days of Liquidity. We teach this almost every time I go out with Uncle Joe or David or Monty or Wade, and we go teach these classes. We'll teach this stuff. A lot of business owners like me in the Phoenix area where we live, they have about 25 days of cash reserve. So if they don't make any money for like 1 month, they would not be able to do a lot of things anymore. And where the way we're coaching you and how to run your money is you'll never have to feel any of this financial pressure if you do this right at your age. You have, $30,000 of cash. What does it cost you to live? Like, do mom and I charge you for anything? No, not right now. So we're going to build you up this buffer together, and you're going to have a lot of opportunity in front of you. And this is why we have these conversations, because that's a big responsibility we're shifting over to you, and we have to be ready for it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last thing on this. A lot of adults we get to work with and help educate and get them on our systems and models. A lot of adults, like people daddy and mommy's age, are making a lot of money, but they don't save a lot of money. So you are saving right now about 85% of your income. Now, if I give you 10 $1 bills right now, how much of those would you save and how much of them would you spend?
If you gave me put 5 of my savings and 5 to spend.
So you'd save, that's called saving 50% of that. Now that's a really good savings rate. If you do that, you will always be ready for good opportunities in the future. I think that's a really tough habit. And we've been working on that since you were 2 years old. And what's the first thing we do when we get money, when we make money?
Save it.
We save it. That's the first thing. And so if you're ever teaching young kids, like even at 2 years old, just start talking to them in that language. First thing you do when you make money is save it. We've got to get them out of this habit of only keeping 5% of the income. Get them to think it's normal to save 30, 40, 50% of their income as early in life as possible. And you're going to give your kids a ton of advantages there. Now, the last thing is, if you can get all the habits down, you're a strong saver. You're going to keep a lot of cash on hand. Yeah. You're going to have a good income. All of these things are going to help you be wealthy in the future. Where you save that cash, there's a reason we only put so much in the piggy bank. And a lot of it, almost all of it, goes to these policies is because you want as many benefits working for you all the time. That makes sense? We're going to keep working on those benefits. Now, this is something we call the urgency matrix. And, I know everyone on the call tonight, like wealth building is important to you. If it's not, there's really just no guidance required. Just keep doing what you're doing. And the way I think about this with my kids is like, there's a big urgency drive. This is very important for me to have these conversations with my kids. And so, wealth building, not only for myself and Diane, was very important, and it was urgent. And if it's not urgent, then just, keep tying into education, get our systems and models, ask us for some of the frameworks, just keep learning about this stuff. But as soon as that becomes urgent for you and important, the only thing that moves the needle forward is implementation. So wealth building for Diane and I was very important. It was very urgent. And then as fast as we could, we went and started teaching our kids as many of these principles as we teach today. And here's exactly why this conversation is so urgent. And we take my 8-year-old through the same exercise I would take a business owner worth 10 million bucks who's 40 years old. And they get basically the same level of clarity, different perspectives, but the clarity is still very similar. And so, when we look at this in that top right corner, the reason this path of money analysis is so urgent and important for me to teach my 8-year-old is this image here. And, my wife, Diane, is I didn't show her this one, but I told her there's one scene in there that you're not going to like, and it's this one right here. I think we're all running out of time faster than we realize. And, Riker's 8 years old today, and those 8 years flew by. And he's only got 10 more years with us. He's basically 44% out the front door. And by the time he's 18, this is what's going to happen. You're probably going to go do service church mission. When you're 18, spend 2 years just serving people. You'll make no money. You won't be home with mom and dad, but you're going to go out and help people. It's a good thing to do. You don't have to do it, but it would be a good experience. And basically, I'm going to give you a hug at the front door when you're 18 and you're in the big wide world. You always be welcome here, but you won't live with mom and dad anymore, right? And when I look at this, I'm like, this is why we have to be unreasonable. And that book, The Intentional Father, gave me a lot of good ideas on like how to make some of these big life events more impactful. And one of my favorite quotes from that book was, beware of the soul-sucking voice of reason. And when these kids are turning certain ages or there's certain things happening in their life, be unreasonable with them. Go on the amazing trips, make the party extravagant, do all the things to celebrate and bring them into that, what he calls, to help them develop into a good man, being good at being a man. And so this is you when you were a little baby. And that was in our second apartment mommy and daddy had. So we lived in a little tiny apartment for, geez, almost 7 years. And, we, mom and dad did a lot of things to just prepare ourselves financially so that we could set you kids up too. And I never want you to feel like we sacrificed to get you here. Like we do it and we love doing it. But we had that tiny little apartment when you were our only baby. It was really cheap for us to live there. And look how happy you were. That's your first policy we started on you. Did you know you were the first policy we wrote at Factum? When we started Factum, you were the first policy we wrote. And now you're 8 years old and you're helping me film videos and teach other people about money. And that time went so fast. We have 10 years left to teach you everything that we need to teach you about being a man. You feel like you're getting prepared? We're going to have a lot more talks about what else you want to learn. And one of the reasons why I have a fairly high confidence, especially in the financial area of life, is because of this framework right here. So naturally, everyone gets to a point, I think, financially, Riker, where they say, what's the next level? You have a current net worth right now, and there are levels to the wealth game. So we get to learn from a lot of people who have a lot of money, which has been amazing for us to learn. And there's essentially 4 different levels here. There's level 1, there's level 2, level 3, and level 4. You've seen this once before. Now, here's Riker. You make $15,000 a year. You have $34,000 of liquidity. You have a current net worth of about $50,000 right now. So you're halfway through level 1. It's pretty good. Our goal is to go to $1 million of what's called target net worth. That's how much you want to be worth in the future. And everyone that we get to teach asks this question. Here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to go. What do we do next? And what you're going to come across as you get into the big wide world is there's so many things to do in the money game. There's more things than you can possibly imagine to do with money. And unless you have a system and a model that takes all of these crazy things and puts them in the right order for you so you can focus on what you need to do, a lot of people will never end up building the kind of wealth you're building now because they don't have the right system and model to do this. There's just not enough time. Kind of like mom and dad feel like we're already running out of time with you. People feel like this with their money. I'm running out of time to figure this out. And a lot of it is because they don't have a model and a system like this. So let's end this call with talking about a little bit of our strategy. So anyone that's in level 1 means you're worth less than $100,000. That's where you're at. Here's the 4 things you want to focus on. Business management, active income. So we're working on making money. Now you're coming and filming these videos with Keaton and I. That's a skill you're building that we can translate into more income in the future. Okay. Savings rate, increase your savings rate. You're a really tough saver. You've got this down. I don't even have to bribe you anymore to save more money. You just do this. And you got your money saved in the right place, which is those policies. Make sense? So you've done all these things. You're going to blow through this level. And we're going to get you into level 2. Now, once you get into level 2, the strategy is going to change drastically. This is where you're going to meet your uncle IRS. And so we're going to need to know about taxes. You're going to have to start really investing at that time. We're going to get your what's called liquidity strategy down. We're going to teach you all these things so you can get into level 2. And our strategy to get you into level 2 and through level 2 is right here.
Oh.
It's really simple. We're going to make sure you have the toughest foundation, which is your insurance policies. We're going to buy real estate in the next 2 years. The way your policies are growing and how much money you're making now, we're going to be able to buy your first rental property by the time you're 10. And the reason we want that, because that rental property will put money in your pocket. It'll go up in value. And all we need is time. Now you're 8 years old. Do you think you got a lot of time left on this earth? You got a lot of time, buddy. A ton of time. And this is going to be it's a very simple roadmap, but this will make you a millionaire and create freedom before you're 25. And these assets have a high level of certainty, meaning they always perform. They're really good if you got the right partners that you're working with too, okay? So that's going to be our play to get you into that $1 million status before you're 25 years old. Okay, so let's talk about this. Tough money experience for kids. One of the ideas that we get to teach people that now we're teaching you is the inconvenient truth. How do my habits affect my wealth plan? If I give you $10 and you save 5 of those dollars, you have really tough habits. Those habits are going to serve you really, really well financially. So you have what we call tough money. Idea number 3, we call this the toughest asset. What's the foundation of my wealth plan? Remember that green box we showed you on your path of money? That's where your policies go. If your foundation is tough, you'll always be ready for the opportunities. And the piece that we're going to work on next now, I got to figure this out, and you're going to help me crack this code, is idea number 2. We call this the problem. How does banking affect my wealth plan? Now, we haven't really had a whole lot of conversations around this because we need to get your habits down and we got to get your money stored in the right place. And now we're going to start teaching you about this book right here. You've seen this book before? We've got a lot of copies around the house. In this book, he talks about the world of banking and how this will affect your financial life drastically. And we're going to test out some of these concepts to see how much of these you can understand in the future. This is going to be our next focus, okay? This is the next part of the play. But what he says in here is if you spend $30,000, let's say you go buy a car when you're ready to buy a car at 16, it doesn't just cost you $30,000. If that money leaves Riker's control forever, over 30 years, that'll cost you $97,000 to use that money. So I want to start teaching you some of these things next so that we start working on this. It's called an opportunity cost. Okay. And the image that I want you to remember is this one right here. If we can teach this to an 8-year-old, that's you, we're going to test this out, and you can understand this, this will be worth millions of dollars to you in the future. So you see all these things? You could be an employee, that means you go and work for someone. You could be self-employed, which means you work for yourself. You could own a business like we decided to do. You are already an investor, meaning you're putting your money to work.
Yeah.
You can choose any one of those players in the money game. Now, what's interesting is every other person in the money game is focused on creating new money. They want to go out and help someone, serve someone, make money. And that's how we make money, right? Is serving people. These banks right here in the middle, this is what we're going to teach you next. These banks sit right in the middle and they do something called permanently control money. They don't really care what everyone else is doing. They just want to control the money that's flowing through that. We're going to work on helping you understand this in your world so that when you become a business owner or you work for an amazing company or you just become an investor or whatever you want to do in this life as your occupation, you've got to understand this image right here. And this will be worth a ton of money to you and your family. And it's going to allow you to do a lot of amazing things. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's wrap this up. The tough money effect for kids. Your ability to thrive when events show up. If your money's not tough, you're going to miss the opportunities. But if you're prepared, you're going to be able to build a ton of wealth. So I have a deal for you. There's a event happening right now. Okay. I've got $500 right here. If you have $100 saved up in that piggy bank, you could put it into this deal right now. Your $100 will be $500 right now. Is that a deal you want to take? Do you have $100 in that piggy bank?
Yeah, definitely.
Open that up before this event comes to an end. The event's going to end in 10, 9, 8,
Uh,
7, 6, 5. Hurry.
so now I have
4.
50.
Pull a whole stack out and find a bigger bill in there. There's got to be one in there. 3.
60, 70, 80, 90. No.
2.
Wait.
What's this?
Oh.
Give me that. The 100 is sitting right in the middle. Hey, these $500 are yours. Was that a good deal? Why were you able to make that deal?
Because I have $100.
Because you had cash ready to go. So these deals, mommy and daddy we've been waiting to do this deal for this call. These deals we might do once every year. That's it. Smaller investments will come and go. We'll do those. These big deals are probably going to happen like once a year. Was that a good deal? $100 to make 500? Those deals exist out there, okay? And if you're ready for them with your cash, with your policies, you will make a fortune financially.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap up with a couple of pro tips. So some of the things that you and I have been working on since you were 2, and these are basically the best lessons I think I can leave with everyone on what we've learned just having these conversations. The first one is just kids' time frames. You know, when you ask a kid to your child to give you $20 that they just worked hard for, instead of spending it and put it into an investment, and they got to wait a week to earn another 20, and then they roll it over and roll it over. I think in the mind of a child, waiting a week to use $20 is like 6 months to us. I mean, the time frames are not the same, right? And so what they want to do is they want to take that $20, they want to go to the gas station and get some treats. They want to go to Target and buy a toy. But it's been remarkable to see them have the patience and discipline to give up some of their savings money or their spending money now to put it into an investment and roll it over. These big events like this one we just did with the $500 once a year. I mean, if we do that once a year, that's probably like every 10 years I'm going to see a deal like that in my world, right? In the real world. And so think of like how you can gamify this with just some of these time frames. Another big one is just talk early and talk often. When he was 2 years old, we were talking about policies in front of him and saving money, and just get the lingo and the language of money around the dinner table more, around your kids. Always use physical cash. Like as many times as you can, teach them with actual dollars. If they see this piggy bank fill up, they can visually see that, like, hey, I'm working hard, I'm saving money, there's something happening here. They won't really understand digital currency numbers on a spreadsheet at this age. And so you really want to use cash as much as you can. We found it to be very effective for them to kind of like understand money. Number 4, always help them handle money on the ground. Like when you got young kids like I do, and I'd love to collaborate with someone in the future that has teenagers, that they're working with teenagers on this stuff right now. But when they were young, their world is the ground. Like you want to play with them, you lay down with them, you get the monster trucks on the ground. That's their world. And so bring the money to their world. Don't have it sitting on your desk up on a high chair. Bring the money to them and help them move it around and count it and everything. Number 5, use the wallet. Everything in this wallet can be spent guilt-free. This is 100% on them to spend. Use the clear piggy bank for the savings. When that's full, transfer it to the high yield savings account, go to your whole life insurance policies from there. Number 6, give them live opportunities like you just saw a couple times. There's an investment. Some of them will pan out, some will not. Every now and again, throw on a who's got $100 lying around. Here's a $300 deal waiting. Let them scramble for it. These little life lessons will teach them about all the big opportunities that are coming in their adult lives. And then lastly, just make it fun. Have a good time. Kids want to be entertained. They want to have fun. So gamify this stuff however you can. All of those lessons have worked really well for Riker learning some of these things. And last thing I'll end you with is, when I look at these 5 areas, this is what I want him to know about life. I'm definitely in pursuit of being this intentional father. That really spoke to me. This is what I want. This is who I want to become for them. And when I think about the financial area, my confidence is at like a 9.5 out of 10. I'm sure there's some other things I could be doing for them, but those systems and frameworks we just went through for an 8-year-old are going to serve him remarkably well. He will dominate in the financial sector. There's no doubt about it, regardless of what occupation he chooses. And, so now the focus goes to what else am I going to be doing for him spiritually? You got a big spiritual event coming up on Saturday. What happens on Saturday?
You give us our investment.
That's a spiritual conversation? No, what's happening? That's financial. That's money. What are you doing on Saturday that we would say is spiritual? Starts with a B.
Abundance.
What happens when you're 8 years old?
You get baptized.
You're getting baptized on Saturday.
Yeah.
Man, this financial conversation was strong. We got you all. All right, 8 years old. He's going to get baptized this Saturday. It's going to be a big ordeal, a big spiritual jump for his life, and that's going to be a big part of becoming a man too. Is we want to live really good lives, right? And so, when I think about this, there's certain areas where I'm still trying to figure out a lot of these things and how to develop him in those areas. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with everyone is we're looking for people to, team up with us. I'd love to be, network with more of you that want this idea of an intentional father or mother. What are you doing with your kids in these other areas? I want to learn from people that have come before us. And so I'd love to start putting more of these calls together where we can be real intentional about what are we teaching the next generation. This is a big part of just the spiritual mission that we're on here at Factum as well. And so I'll throw that out there as we conclude the call. But Riker, any last parting thoughts before we hop off the call tonight? How are you feeling overall right now? 8 years old.
Good.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Not a lot to say at an 8-year-old boy, huh? That's all right. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone hopping on. If there's any questions in the chat, I'd love to, go back and forth with anyone. And what did you catch? What are you seeing? How can we be effective and useful? I'd love to take some of those if you guys are willing to stay on for a few more minutes.